as the regular season inches closer and closer, and a report has come out revealing that Beauchamp is on the trade block. A new report has revealed some very interesting Milwaukee Bucks targets that they are targeting in a trade for the former first-round pick. So to break down exactly who those targets are, as well as what it means going forward, as the Bucks are less than 48 hours away from opening night. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you're part of the 80% who aren't subscribed to the channel, we're very close to 1,000 subscribers. It's been a goal we've been looking to hit for a very long time. So if you want to help us support that goal, hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's dive into it. A lot to go over today, specifically regarding, of course, we know yesterday that Marion Beauchamp was kind of put in the trade block. The Bucks are actively looking to shop the forward, the former first-round pick a couple years ago. And now there's been a report that dropped revealing some very interesting targets. So we know that the Bucks, and reports have come out revealing that the Bucks are looking to get a defensive-minded wing back in a return for Beauchamp, someone who's more NBA ready in the sense of actually playing in the rotation. And we know that the Bucks' current strength is offense rather than defense, and their biggest weakness right now is wing defenders and defenders in general. And an article has dropped revealing the three Bucks defensive-minded players, and this is the first one here: Keita, Bates-Diop. Now, he's only 28 years old. He's a super intriguing player, would be the one here. So Jake Fisher mentions that the Minnesota Timberwolves are interested in moving veteran forward Keita Bates-Diop. The Wolves can accomplish that by doing a one-for-one swap with the Bucks. He's a 28-year-old forward, 6'8", 229, very, very good defensively. And you can see here, he's been a respectable defender, averaging a career 115 defensive rating per 100 possessions. And again, last season, he allowed opponents to shoot 45% in the field goals, which isn't a terrible number, right around league average. So he's not an elite. He was at one point a very good elite defender earlier in his career when he was a little bit younger. But right now, he's a solid defender. And quite frankly, looking at the Bucks depth chart here, he would fit quite well, whether he's probably as a backup small forward / power forward. And again, depending on what happens with Chris Middleton's health, how Bobby Portis performs, Brook Lopez's health, and how he performs, having a backup guy who's 6'8" and can play defense off the bench is something that the Bucks are in desperate need of. At this point, they just need defenders, and that's something that Keita Bates-Diop would be able to do, especially when you're looking at it in the sense of Beauchamp right now, according to the depth chart at least, is the 5th string point guard / shooting guard, and he's just not going to get into any game. So if you can one-for-one swap the upside of Beauchamp, is only 24 years old, former first-round pick, drafted 24th, I believe, in exchange for a guy who, again, the Timberwolves are already shopping in Keita Bates-Diop, but who's a more of an established NBA role player at this point of his career, can play better defense, and will have a more defined role on a Bucks team that is in desperate need of defenders and just defined roles across the board and some more depth. Again, they have AJ Green, they have AJ Johnson, who's probably not going to factor into play much of this year, probably play more with the Wisconsin Herd, but you have Pat Connaughton, who's also apparently been shopping. They've been shopping him as well. So a lot of different guys here, but I'm liking the fit of Keita Bates-Diop if it would just be a one-for-one. And again, it's not a horrible takeaway from it. If you're able to get a guy like this who would play some minutes, 10, 15 minutes a game, he's a very interesting player. He's played a part of many different teams. And again, he's not going to be a scorer. He had his best year back a couple of years ago. He averaged 9 points a game with the San Antonio Spurs, but he's a solid defender. He can play. He's a bigger guy and I think he'd factor in well to this team. And again, you're not going to get much from Beauchamp at this point. You're not getting a first-round pick back. You'd maybe get a second, maybe 2 seconds. You wouldn't even get 2 seconds. So if you can just get a role player back, someone who can help the Bucks right now towards winning, which is what they need to do, I think Keita Bates-Diop is a decent option there. But the next one is Keon Ellis of the Sacramento Kings, and this one is interesting. So the trade, this was proposed a while ago, but it's a trade that is involving Beauchamp and a first for Keon Ellis. And you can see Keon Ellis was suggested as a trade target for the Bucks by Bleacher Report back a couple months ago in August, and that was before, obviously, the Kings acquired DeMar DeRozan. But now, obviously, they're shopping Beauchamp. If you're unfamiliar with Ellis, 6'6", 175, same height as Beauchamp, 20 pounds lighter. He was a two-way player in 2022, had a better career possession, all these different things. But I'm not sure the Bucks in any world would necessarily give up their first-round pick in 2031 for a guy like Keon Ellis. Like, yeah, he showed some upside last year. He played 57 games. He's a pretty decent defender, averaging almost a steal a game, 5 points. But at the end of the day, he only started 21 games, only averaged 17 minutes a game. So it's not like he's someone who actually is averaging, 15 points a game. If I'm the Milwaukee Bucks and I'm giving up that 2031 first-round pick, like I've discussed in this channel, that is their most valuable asset right now. I would only do that if probably at the deadline. I'd probably wait at the deadline, see what the team needs. They're probably going to need a 3-and-D wing, but I would not do that for Keon Ellis. But, I mean, maybe as a swap, a one-for-one, or maybe you add in a second there somewhere, the 2031 second, they have that one. Maybe Beauchamp in a second for Keon Ellis can make a bit more sense, but even then, I'm not entirely sold on the Milwaukee Bucks wanting to give up assets alongside Beauchamp in order to get a player of Keon Ellis's caliber, but you never know. It's very interesting. It's something intriguing to discuss here. But the final one is, of course, Lindy Waters III. And this is another intriguing one here. The Warriors, obviously, your team could potentially partner with them. You'd be getting Beauchamp, you'd be shipping Beauchamp, off to the Golden State Warriors. They obviously just signed Moses Moody to a 3-year, $39 million deal. Waters is 27 years old. Beauchamp is 24. So a one-for-one trade would be interesting because, again, Warriors would get a bit younger. The Sixers would, or the Bucks, would get a guy who's a bit more NBA ready. But again, he probably wouldn't provide the upgrade you need here in order to facilitate a trade. And you're looking at his stats. He averaged 3 points a game last year. Like, this would just be a very lateral move. He's older. I feel like at that point, if you're trading a guy like Beauchamp for Lindy Waters, you probably want to just hold on to Beauchamp or see if there's any other offers out there for Marion Beauchamp. Because, I mean, at this point, like, again, it's a very lateral move by giving up a guy like Beauchamp for Lindy Waters. Lindy Waters is older. He's not a good defender, which is what the Milwaukee Bucks desperately need. But the only thing you're getting here is experience in the NBA, as he's played now 104 games compared to Beauchamp's significantly less than that. But I don't know if experience is the thing that the Bucks. I mean, yeah, they definitely want experienced players right now. And you look at the depth chart here again. Dame, Gary Trent Jr. On Wednesday, Chris Middleton's going to be out. So it's going to be Dame, Trent, Taurean Prince, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. That'll be the starting five. And it'll be a very interesting starting five, but the depth there is what gets a little bit worried. Because as soon as you have one injury, in this case, Chris Middleton, again, the Bucks are not a young team. They have a lot of guys who are injury prone, whether that's Brook Lopez, Dame could go down with an injury at any time. Chris Middleton, we saw, obviously, Middleton's been dealing with injuries for a while, so is Dame, and even Giannis to a degree, and Brook Lopez throughout the offseason and regular season last year as well. It's at the point now where they need to get a little bit more depth, and I think if you're trading a guy like Beauchamp, you'd probably want to get a guy who can at least factor into maybe your third string, whether that's whatever position, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, whatever it ends up being. They need to be able to actually factor into the Bucks team, or else just trading is no point. You'd rather keep him, develop him alongside Damian Lillard. It's a pretty good mentor to have. And we also know that a report came out revolving around, Thanasis and Antetokounmpo, that they're trying to move off Marion to potentially make a run at getting Thanasis back for the sole purpose of course, being alongside Giannis. And we'll probably have a full video on covering that soon. But if that's the case, then obviously they're probably not going to be going for a guy like Keita Bates-Diop because they only have a certain amount of roster spots. So it'll be interesting to see what path they go with this. If they want to get an NBA player out of these three, my favorite one is Keita Bates-Diop. He's a defender. He's 28. He's been around for a while, and he actually has some upside. He's only 28 years old. It seems like he's been in the league forever, but he is only 28 years old, despite seeming older. And he has some upside, especially on the defensive end. I can actually see him factoring into play. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of this. Out of these three players, which one is your favorite and your most likely or your most preferred suitor in a Beauchamp trade? Let me know. We'll see you guys soon.